There's nothing quite as luxurious when camping in the hot summer as having a working air conditioner. In fact, we've never had a working air conditioner that we could use when we were boondocking. Now, in this older Roadtrek, it turns out we have a functioning generator that still doesn't have that many hours on it, so it's working fine. And it's capable of running the air conditioner, but the old Fetters air conditioner broke very soon after purchasing this used RV. This video is about replacing the air conditioner on my old Roadtrek that I purchased about a year ago. There have been a lot of projects to do on this Roadtrek. This one is totally doable by a lot of RV owners if you just have the time and energy and the tools. So follow along and I'll show you how to do it. But I'll let you know up front here, this is not a fast project. It's really a two-person job in places, especially when it comes to lifting down the old heavy Fetters air conditioner that's up there on the roof, at least 8 feet off the ground. So, but a lot of it can be done by one person. And in this case, I did most of the work, and then my husband helped me with some of the heavy lifting. I would say if you have a Dodge, though, there could be some major differences that I'm not even familiar with. I don't know if the cabinets are designed the same way inside. I'm going to show you a lot of details in this video, but I will try to leave out the hours of caulking removal that I had to do, which I don't even know how many hours it was. But there it is, working back there in the background. I've been running it for several days here on our driveway. It's working fine, and we've taken it on some long drives, about 1,000 miles, and drove down some washboard roads, which were very bumpy. The rear of this van is extremely bumpy. It's better now that I had some work done on it, but so it's working great. At least now it's great to know how to replace it. So for a refreshing change, I thought I would put the most important information from this video here in the beginning rather than making you wait till the end. One of the most important things to know when you start this project is what size air conditioner can I replace my old air conditioner with? And there's no way to know that until you know the size of the opening that you need to fit the new air conditioner in. And there's no way to tell what the size of the opening is until you've actually removed the old air conditioner. So I'm going to give you the size of the opening that I found in my Roadtrek. It may not be exactly the same as the one in your Roadtrek, but hopefully it is. Thankfully nowadays, certain retailers will let you purchase an air conditioner and then return it with no questions asked. I strongly do not recommend buying any air conditioners on Amazon. The Amazon retailer that I used to try out one air conditioner, which was an LG model, gave me so much pushback when it was time for me to return the unit. Even though I hadn't damaged it, it was in perfect shape. I basically opened the box to see what size it was. So that went on for at least a week and a half, back and forth emails over that one air conditioner. And I've heard about that happening on other products on Amazon once in a while. So I really recommend going to Walmart or Home Depot or some other retailer that'll have a no questions asked 30-day return policy of some sort. Knowing the opening dimensions and the size of the old air conditioner are really, really great for planning this project and getting it done. There are at least 3 window air conditioners that are 8,000 BTUs that you could purchase to put in this opening back here. I chose the Frigidaire just to be different, I guess. Most people had done the LG. I like it though because the fan runs continuously. There's no eco mode on this one, so it's not cycling or sounding like it's cycling off and on, which is really a lot more less jarring for me. I like the simplicity of not having a remote control and a Wi-Fi control and electronic controls. This is just your basic window air conditioner. It looks kind of old school, but the entire RV looks kind of old school anyway. thought it'd be good here in the opening to talk about the problem with these older Roadtreks and rain. So if you don't already know about this, it's good for you to know it up front before you do the project. That basically, if you've bought one of these old Roadtreks and you haven't been through a rainy season yet, you might want to experiment with running a hose outside with the Roadtrek parked with the nose down a tiny bit, and you'll notice that it might start leaking inside. What happens is the rain will come in the back grill in the very back and accumulate in kind of this bathtub area right underneath where the air conditioner is, and eventually it will overflow into the inside of the RV. So that's why everyone needs to know these vans need to be parked at level or with the nose up, especially in the winter. And this has been a big problem for us. Some people have replaced the rear grille with something they think is keeping the rain out better than the one I've got on here. Step one, remove these little screws and take this piece of wood off. Next step, unscrew this screw in here. That's the one. Okay, pull this thing off. Okay, and go in this cabinet and move this stuff, but make sure you've got the air conditioner unplugged. There's a difference of opinion about the function of this tray. So one person removed it. When I did the repair work on the leaks over here, I noticed there was a tube leading from this tray down to the side of the van, and it was completely there was no water in it. And whenever I've seen the leaks from this air conditioner in this van, it hasn't, this tray hasn't helped with anything. It's basically leaked down here, right here, over to this side of the wood here. So I'm not sure if I really need to take this out, but it is a little bit in the way. But considering that I'm going to take it out the other direction because this is a Chevy and there's a big opening in the back, I'm not sure if I need to take this out or not. Also, when the air conditioner was working, the condensation was all just draining out the very back of the van through that grill in the back. And as you can see, you can print out the old Home and Park motorhome instructions, and they say the next step is to remove this metal plate so you can get to the wires. What I'm seeing, I think that's the hard start capacitor so that the generator can start the air conditioner. I started looking around for screws, and the only ones I'm finding so far are these in the ceiling. So, moving right along, the next step is to cut around the caulk all the way around the housing here with a utility knife. This caulking is 20 years old, so I'm thinking it's silicone, and it's rubbery. It's not hard. Just kind of have to go at it. And the wood's really close to the metal right here, so I'm going to have some problems. One of the hardest things is this headliner. This is really, really strong. It might have a wood backing, but you can see the fiberglass roof. Well, it's really not the roof. It's like a frame that goes around the air conditioner, and I've seen pictures on other people's posts, but it's right there. It's just right there. So the other thing the instructions actually mention is not to cut this nice vinyl headliner here. So that's going to be a thing where maybe I have to get my husband to come push up on it while I use the knife, because I'm not going to build a whole wood thing to hold this up. So this was a fail. This thing is just too fat to get in those cracks. So I invested in one of these windshield long-handled windshield scraper things. And that really does get back in those little tiny cracks there and down in deeper. Okay, now I'm going to take off the roof bolts. Got to take this off too. So as to scraping the caulk up here on the roof, this is one of the worst jobs of the whole thing. This part right here is the absolute worst. There isn't even room for one razor blade across here. So what I had to go buy was a 5/8" chisel, and that's working part of the time, but not all the time, because when you get down deep in there, it just can't reach too well. I'm still using the big long-handled urethane removal tool, and that's been pretty good so far. I'm not sure if I need to get every single piece of caulk or not. I think I'm gonna try to do my best and then maybe use a crowbar to move this thing, see if it'll move at all. Now over here on my 200 Versatile, this outside grill on the roof that lets all the rain in, they don't say to take this off to remove the air conditioner, but I am gonna take it off. So I've also been reading the instructions from this fellow on the Class B forum called Gandalf the Roadtrek, and he took the rivets out. So these are going to have to come out. And I had to use this hacksaw on one of the rivets, but the rest came out okay. Okay, I got it off, but I had to bend it. And, you know, it's aluminum. I think I can bend it back. I had to take another rivet out on this corner. There's a seam right here. Anyway, I have this dream. I'm working outside in the hot sun. I have this kind of dream of someone making me another grill that's way better than this and actually keeps the water out of the back. So the water comes down here, get down here, and then there's a little edge of the shelf right there. So what happens? The water just goes on the edge and flows back in there. But here's what's left. This was what was holding that grill on. Testing out the old crowbar. I can move it a little bit. So it's looking like there's a little light on that side. It's looking like it might still be kind of stuck underneath. So I got these CRL extra long blades. I'm going to cut along here. I would never try it up at the top. I did accidentally put a cut up there and I have to glue it now. Yay! Success! Those long blades, that's underneath here. That did it. Now I can find out exactly what size air conditioner fits in this opening. And so before I really go to town cleaning this opening up and getting rid of all the rest of this caulk things, and I learn a lot just looking at what other people did. Like, I mean, this is an incredibly huge amount of caulk they've used on this. And right here, this is very firm. So this is fiberglass, and it's curved up like a bathtub, curving up to a little ledge right there. This is higher than this. So that's interesting, and you can see this is up higher. It's got feet. I just think that's good to know because when I'm ordering a new air conditioner or looking at one that I might want to return, I've got to figure out what's going to actually work in here. So this was, according to the old literature, Roadtrek literature, this is supposed to be a 10,000 BTU air conditioner. And I could not find a 10,000 BTU. The most important thing is getting tons of caulk. Tons. And the right kind of caulk. It's incredible to think about 20 years of this riding in the back of this really bouncy RV, and it never came loose. So I have to really respect this caulk, and I might talk about the caulk choice for a second here. I mention there were no screws holding this down? Zero. It's all caulking. Okay, we got it down. We got the big old heavy Fetters air conditioner out of this area. I mean, the way we did it was we had this hill here by our driveway, and we had this extension ladder, and we hooked the extension ladder on, just set it on here, and then we had some rebar propping the extension ladder back there so it didn't slide. Anyway, gosh, we had a good slope. It wasn't too steep, and gosh, I can't believe that worked. I was going to take it to the RV repair place to get them to help us with it. So you can kind of see I've just got to clean this up and scrape a little bit more caulk out of here. And you can kind of see the construction of that little lip that's so critical to keeping water out. Now I want to show you these wear marks. I mean, that is deep. That's from the fin that was attached to the back. Here's the back of the air conditioner was right here. I think another person who did this and documented it online, Gandalf the Roadtrek, there were some rubber strips under here. I mean, I might put something under there like that. Here's the old Fetters, and I just wanted to show you. This is the hard start capacitor. And the question is, do we need another one on the new air conditioner? We're hoping not, because it looks like we can't get one in there. This is the regular capacitor that I freed up just to kind of look at. The newer capacitors don't have connections like these, so it's a kind of a problem for us. And it's really good if you're going to take out your air conditioner and it's heavy to put these ratchet straps on there to have something to grab onto. So here's the new air conditioner. Actually, you know this is disassembled, right? Here's the faceplate. This is a Frigidaire. Taking it apart was kind of a chore. You have to pop these dials off, and this faceplate clips is held on by plastic little clips. So here's the problem. This is the regular capacitor, and not only is there no place right in here for the hard start capacitor really, but these little connectors, there's no place to plug in this hard start capacitor on this one, which is the way it was connected on the other air conditioner. Then we also have an issue with the power cord. The power cord exiting on this side instead of the older air conditioner, it was on the right side, and it went into the cabinet on the right over here where the plug is. I think what we're going to do is put a new extension cord inside the roof cavity that this will plug into, and waterproofing this though right here, I'm not sure that's going to work. We might have to find a new place to move this cord up here. I'm finalizing the power cord out of the air conditioner, which will be attached to a new extension cord inside the roof compartment of the Roadtrek. This, I removed this, drilled a new hole here. At the most, it's going to be doing this or back and forth. It might be moving a little bit, but it's not going to be pulled on. I'm going to anchor it down up here with these cable organizer things from Amazon. I'll put a link in the description. And the adhesive on these is really, really not good at all. But they do have a hole for a screw here. And the air conditioner came with these holes. So I'm going to just put these right there and lock down this cable heading over this direction, and then over here is going to be a new kind of a junction box idea, but it's just going to be an extension cord, but I'm going to have an extension cord permanently with a junction right here in the roof area, and I'm going to waterproof that. That way, next time we have to change one of these out, we won't have to go redoing the cord and recalking the cord, and it'll all be connected right here inside the roof area. Now I know that doesn't look like the most beautiful caulking job ever, but here's why I did it that way. I love this caulk. This Silco is great. RTV, it's the black version. It's non-slumping, so it may start out very movable and gooey like this, but once it cures and hardens, that becomes like a big piece of rubber on there. I mean, here's a piece. This is a cured piece. Here's a cured piece. And I just squeezed that out of the tube, and it cured, and I can barely compress it. I mean, it's rubbery, it is compressing some, but there's a lot of resistance there, and it's very sticky. So this stuff is great. That's why I left a big fat wads around the sides to keep it from, hopefully to keep the cable from moving around. We could have preserved this circuit breaker thing. The thing about that is, let's say this faults or something, you know, it's kind of I imagine it's a GFCI, and this thing gets tripped on a trip or something. The only way to access it would have been opening up the whole roof to get onto this thing and reset it. So that was not even something we wanted to even consider for even 1 second. This, you know, there's a kit for adding a new plug. I'm just going to do away with this plug. I guess we might get killed or something, but I doubt it. This is, again, I think this, my gut feel on this is all about lawsuits and kids and dogs chewing on the cable or something. So that's why I went to all the trouble of rerouting the cable coming out here to coming out here, because this is going to be inside the roof area, not inside the interior of the RV. Here's the old power cord, and it comes out somewhere in the wall underneath this fiberglass tray in there. So for me to get to access that, it's caulked in. I can't budge it. I'd have to take this whole thing out. It's just not worth the effort. And I'm going to just remove all this old cable, drill a new hole back there somewhere, and plug a new extension cord in here and lead it out through the hole into the roof compartment on this side, and then there'll be a permanent new kind of junction box. Really just be an extension cord. Sorry, I keep calling it a junction box. I'm really just talking about plugging two extension cords together. Okay, I've marked my spot, basically measuring from trying to avoid the plug that's inside this cabinet here, and also the height of the inside of the cabinet's only here. That's why this other fellow put the backup camera here. I'm now realizing. Okay, that did not go all the way through. This is a 1/2 inch. Fiberglass is here, and that's the wood. Okay, now I'm going to patch my vinyl that I accidentally cut into here. I'm going to use Amazing Goop. I've always had usually very good results with that, and it takes a while to dry, but it's really pretty permanent, so I need to be very careful not to leave a big crusty edge on this. Good stuff. Look at that. Next, I'm going to fabricate a little flange, because this air conditioner is narrower than the old one, so there's going to be like a 7/8 inch gap right here, and I was going to fill that up with this aluminum bar, kind of like that, and hold it on with these angle brackets. So I was going to cut this aluminum bar next. Getting ready to do the cutting, and all I've got is a jigsaw, but I think it's going to work just fine. I've got my line drawn. I'm just going to do it by hand. It's not something that requires it to look amazingly beautiful. Cool fact, this file belonged to my grandfather, and I'm still using it. Aluminum really files quickly. Okay, my next step is I'm going to attach one of these new replacement plugs onto the end of the air conditioner cable, which I did reduce by a foot. In general, it's better to have shorter cables rather than long. So I just took a foot off, though, just to be cautious and not cut off too much. And I'm going to attach one of these Leviton connectors made in the United States. I'm not going to show you every step of this because there are other videos that help with this. One thing I wanted to point out is that there's this
special notch here in the side that I marked with a Sharpie that matches up with this little notch on the housing right here. And of course the green is for the ground. And since I'm not very schooled in electrical issues, I printed out this chart from Wikipedia. It does show under the NEMA codes, which are for the United States, where the hot, neutral, and ground cables are. So the ground is the green, fat, roundish, all by itself connector. The white is the fatter inlet, and the black is the hot, the smaller inlet, which I didn't know. I thought the hot would get the bigger one. Instructions for this plug are very comprehensive, but I don't think they really did talk about that little notch in the housing, which helps you to line everything up properly. This end is where the cable goes in, and this is where you're going to put your copper leads in there and tighten it all down. So here's an extension cord for appliances. You can see that this side is a little bit fatter than that side. So this is the side for the neutral. That's the side for the hot. And I need to keep that in mind, and I'm going to label this exactly like that, because this, when you turn it around, is what I keep getting confused about. You turn it around, the neutral is the one on the right, the black is the one on, anyway, this way it's right. The neutral is the one on this side, the black is the one on that side. When you turn it, they're going to go in the right slots. So this is the plug that I removed from the air conditioner. Here's what it looks like inside the cable. There are these little foil wrappers that I've moved back here. That's probably the GFCI function that they wanted me to preserve, but I'm not going to. But I did check inside the air conditioner. The only thing that you see are these wires here. You don't see all this foil continuing on into the switch. As you can see, the foil just peels right off. After removing the foil, I found these little aluminum wires that were on the outside wrapped in the foil, and I'm just going to cut those off. Next, I'm going to expose the copper according to the directions, 9/16 of an inch. I don't know if I can get that perfect. Okay, testing the new plug. High cool. Yay, it's working. You know, this is the most unwaterproof plug I have ever seen. This is going to really need to be enclosed in a waterproof vinyl bag, which is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to use flex tape and really make sure this is waterproof. So I've got it positioned in the opening with the help of my husband. We got it up there. The main thing I'm really concerned with here is making sure that if somebody needs to unscrew any of these servicing screws on the side, that somehow they'll be able to get to those still. So now I'm fitting on my fins to see where they're supposed to be placed, or flange, or whatever you want to call it. You can see I had to cut a little notch for this one screw. Luckily it's at the top where the water doesn't pool. The rest of it fits fine, and these are about 13.5 inches tall. And next I'm going to figure out where the brackets are going to go and think about, I'm still undecided whether I should screw screws into the side of this or not. I'm worried about damaging some electronics. So here's the air conditioner installed, except for one step, which I'll talk about in a second. And I skipped showing you quite a bit that I did. I'm sorry about that. It's just taken a lot of concentration for me to get this done. You can see a lot of what it is, and really a lot of it's just common sense. Caulking with the silicone that I mentioned, and making sure it's really securely in there, getting it lined up properly. And then this is the little innovation that I'm adding, and actually I've driven it 2 hours in the back here so far, and this seems to be holding it just fine, which is these are these angle brackets. As you can see, it goes up the side of the air conditioner, and then it's attached to the floor here with VHB tape. So I've got 4 of these. 1, 2, 3, and then there's a fourth one over there. And sorry, I can't really reach from on the ladder here. I'm standing on the up here on this ladder shooting this. So basically there's VHB tape on the floor, which I cleaned very thoroughly and sanded and then cleaned it with alcohol and put VHB tape under the bracket, and then there's also VHB tape touching the metal housing of the air conditioner box on all four of those. And I'm really fairly confident that that's gonna be a good way to keep it from sliding toward the back of the van. Also in the front, the fit is pretty tight vertically up and down, so I'm not too worried about motion up and down in the front. Side to side, I added these flanges and I caulked all around them. They are also attached when it came to the air conditioner side here. Those are attached to the air conditioner with VHB tape also, because I was concerned about drilling in and puncturing or breaking some, especially on this other side of the air conditioner over here. There's the freon lines are over there. So it just seemed like a good alternative. I think it's going to work. You can see the wiring job is not professional at all. So here's the new extension cord coming out the side as I showed you. It's fed over here, then it goes into to plug into the other extension cord right there. Let me move the ladder so I can take a picture of this. Right here is the least professional part of everything I've done, but I still think it's going to work fine. This is the new extension cord coming out here, and in here I have a new male plug that I showed you I was installing on the air conditioner. This was the original air conditioner cord. I put a new male plug on that, and then this is an extension cord, original female, and on the inside of this cabinet I put a new male plug. So that's how that worked, and this is all waterproofed with vinyl and flex tape. It's attached to this, so this is one of the original flanges that was on the old fetters. Now this is not screwed in, you'll see, and also I used VHB tape on that. Right now I'm really a big fan of VHB tape. Now we'll see how this holds up, but it's moving a tiny bit, but it's not. Oh, I also wanted to mention I did add this weather stripping to cushion the blows from bouncing up and down on the highway. And this is just, I'll put a link to this trim lock weather stripping in the description. Cleaned the floor very thoroughly before installing that. So back to the flange here. This is just attached with a little, it's actually from a picture hanging hook. And this is just that wrapping Velcro, bundle wrap Velcro. And I'm going to have to make these flanges bigger. That's the last step. I have to make bigger flanges because it turns out I thought these flanges were just here to keep the air conditioner from moving and sliding out the back rail here. But actually no, a very helpful person posted online that this is where the hot air comes out, and the hot air needs to exit out here to the back of the van, and then the cooler air is actually being drawn in on the sides here. So you need separation of the two hot and cold air. And I assume that's why this is not the original foam, but there was foam here on the older air conditioner and exactly in that spot. So I think that's what that was doing, was keeping the hot air from going back over the top here and being sucked in back there. To make these add-ons to the flanges, I'm using ABS plastic I ordered on Amazon, 2 pieces, and then I cut a cardboard template and took it up there on the van and made sure that it looks like it's going to fit, and put my painter's tape down and drew some lines, and now I'm going to cut it with a saber saw with a plastic cutting blade, actually a hacksaw blade. Here's the blade. Works pretty well. Okay, here's the finished product. That's amazing goop. It gets pretty hard. It works well with foam. I'm not sure with foam connected to ABS plastic though. There are several aspects of this project I wish were done a little bit more professionally, especially this junction box thing. I mean, here's the good thing. It's not going to be down in the water. And worst case, the rain might leak in here and drip down the cable. And I don't think it's going to go in though, because that's flex tape, which is really rubbery. And we've had really good luck with that on different projects, so it's pretty waterproof. I'm not sure about the heat issue because it might get hot in this compartment in the summer with the air conditioner running, especially because that'll be a lot of hot air coming out right there. So probably would have been better to put an actual junction box on the wall here. That would have looked nicer too, wouldn't it? Here's the finished view from the inside. The wood trim could have been done a lot more perfectly because I don't have a table saw. Those little slits of wood on either side are left over from redoing the bed panel, so it's actually the same veneer wood that's on the rest of the walls. Those are just attached with Velcro. So the nice thing is, if you need to service the air conditioner, you can just pop those little wood pieces off. I think it turned out pretty well, and it definitely fits in here. Look at how much nice room there is to open the cabinet doors compared to the LG air conditioners, by the way. But we'll see. This is a pretty tiny unit, and I don't know how long it's going to last, and whether it's really going to do the job. It does turn on with the generator. No hard start capacitor. Here's the electrical plug that I added to this extension cord. So that's one of those add-on extension cord plugs. It's great for something like this that nobody's going to be plugging and unplugging the cable very much at all. So that's pretty good, I think, for that. That was a fast one. So let's try the air conditioner. Should we put it on high cool? It says right now it's 76. I hope this works. I felt a little surge. Looks like the extension cord isn't blowing around. That's good. Well, it's gone down 1 degree in about a minute, so that's not too bad. And it's great it runs on the generator. That is such a big plus. So I sort of wish I could run solar and the air conditioner just with a battery, but I've just read so many articles on how hard that is and how much solar you need, and so that's not going to happen with this RV. It just sounds like you need at least 600 watts, and I'm not sure if this air conditioner could even do that. So maybe it could. And just to be thorough, here is the sound of the air conditioner running on house current. No generator. How she blows. That's what it sounds like from the outside. And today actually is a great day to test it out. It's been 90. Right now it's 90 in the shade outside. We're having a little bit of a heat wave here at the end of April 2020. And I've been running it for 3 hours on house current, and it reduced the heat temperature in here from 94 to 70. So here's the thermometer on the door here. So I'm excited. Some of my projects haven't been perfectly working out, but this one so far seems to be working. But we have a nice new cover for this to keep the cold air from coming in. Here is the vinyl and Reflectix cover that I made, and I made it fit pretty tightly. The only thing that's happened that's not been perfect about this is, for some reason, the Reflectix is melting or leaving a mark on the faceplate of the air conditioner. So I'm going to have to put some other, maybe some self-stick shelf liner on this side. 8,000 BTUs, it seems to be doing the job today. It's only 90 out though, and if you were in the desert, not sure how that would go. But
3 hours and it's running at 70, and I haven't even seen any condensation dripping out the back of the van yet. So thank you for watching, and I hope this was helpful if any of you are thinking about replacing an older Roadtrek air conditioner.